Okay, we're talking about Fred Bickley Hodges. He was born on February the 2nd, 1907 or 6, and he died November the 30th, 1970 in Fort Worth, Texas. His father was Harvey Bryant Hodges. His mother was Viney Leora Fulbright, and he had no children of himself, but he did have two wives. One was Mary Stevens, which is his first wife, and Claudel Macmillan, which is his second wife. So I know we need to talk a little bit about Fred.
This is Wiley Ray Hodges. I'm a nephew for Fred B. Hodges. My father was Herman Walter Hodges. When Fred was young and starting out, he was in the printing business working for the Milliken Press. He left and went to work with Gulf Oil as a service manager for service stations. The war came on and he was drafted and was sent to the South Pacific in the Army for 36 months, all the battles at the islands, and he was a radio operator. And he came home, was in discharge in 1945. I was discharged from my South Pacific duties, Wiley Ray Hodges, in 1945. I applied for a job at the Milliken Press because my Uncle Fred, Claude Hodges, was there working at that time, and they asked that I could start my apprenticeship for 4 years. I did. And then Fred continued his work with Gulf Oil for a year or two. He decided that Claude Hodges wanted to go in his own business at Imperial Printing, so Fred Hodges and I bought the Milliken Press from Mr. J.P. Milliken when he passed away. Fred Hodges became the salesman. I was the inside man, and we had a partnership for several years, and then I bought him out, and he retired. Fred and I did work for a company that could not pay their bill, and we obtained, in lieu of money, a large Marston building, an old oil type building, 3-story brick, nice in Ranger, Texas. Fred decided he and his wife Claudel was going to make apartments within this 3-story building and businesses on the ground floor, retire there, and have an income. Fred B. Hodges dropped dead with a heart attack before he finished that deal, and then I was the sole owner of the Milliken Press. I worked there for 46 years. Fred B. had worked at the Milliken when a young man and came back from the service, and later spent several years at the Milliken with Wiley as a salesman. And Fred was a real nice, well-dressed man and well-mannered and had a good personality for sales. He did real well in selling printing for the Milliken Press.
And at one time he lived in Arlington, Texas?
Fred Hodges lived in Arlington, Texas after he married his second wife, Claudel Hodges, and they and her 2 children lived in Arlington, Texas. The boys and girls went to school in Arlington, and Fred continued to work there till he passed away and still lived in Arlington with his wife. The children had grown and gone away from home by that time. So anyway, we just all been printers, all the Hodges seem like. This is Wiley Ray Hodges, nephew of Fred B. Hodges. And Mary Stevens was Fred's first wife. She had 2 children. She was from Lubbock, Texas, and Fred married her and raised the 2 boys as stepchildren. Later they divorced, and he married then. She had 2 children, Truman Lee Stevens and R.B. Stevens. And then Fred later married Claudel Ellis Hodges. She had 2 children, and he can raise them as his stepchildren. And the daughter was
Dale
and
Doris.
She had 2 children, Dale Ellis and Doris Ellis. Doris Ellis became a school teacher in the Gregory Portland, Texas district, marrying a principal there, and they both taught schools. They had no children. Dale Evans had a wife and several children. So Fred was the father of stepkids for 2 different marriages. Doris Ellis and Dale Ellis were his second wives that had the 2 stepchildren. His first wife's son, R.B., was killed on the Stevens Ranch west of Fort Worth, his uncle's ranch, riding a tractor. A piece of equipment went bad and it killed him. And his brother, Truman Lee had a store on the highway near Benbrook, and that was the way Fred's first wife's two children grew up and fared and so forth.